Happy New Year, y'all.
Yo,
Yo,
2025, wilding already.
Wait, what'd you hear? Did I miss? Oh, you mean like the
What do you
the
mean?
violence and the chaos in New Orleans?
I mean, what else? No, just not just New Orleans. You didn't
yeah,
see what happened in New York last night,
Oh, Queens. Yeah, shootout.
and the and
and
the the Cybertruck,
in Vegas, yeah,
the Cybertruck in Vegas that blew
the
up in front of the
explosion.
Trump Towers
Oh,
and
nah.
Hmm.
killed. And I think the
Well,
person that did it killed himself in it.
Yeah,
That explosion was wild.
nah, I didn't even. I gotta go look that up. I didn't even see that one.
Yeah, the
yeah,
picture circulating now is ill. It shows like as it's exploding in front of the and it says Trump right behind it and it's a Cybertruck and it's like 2025. This says it all.
Wow.
And that explosion was wild.
Yeah, man.
yeah. No, you got to be definitely got to be on your A game when you're out and about these days.
Yeah, and the car ramming thing seems to be because that happened in Germany
Yeah, right
this
before, yeah,
Christmas
yeah,
and
during the
in
Christmas
England. I think
marts.
they had an incident as well with these
and,
like
and here in New York, they pushed the dude onto the train tracks.
I
Like,
saw that.
yeah, you're right. It's been a crazy couple of days.
Yeah,
Um,
people are losing their shit, man.
it's funny because, well, it's not funny, but I was talking to my daughter about the incident on the train when the guy got pushed onto the tracks, and she looked at me like, "Is this real? Like, why would anybody do that?" And I'm like, "Yo, you live in a bubble."
And then
Like,
last week they had the dude lit the woman on fire on the
That
train
shit
as
was
yes,
well.
on the subway, yeah,
That
Yeah,
shit was surreal, man. Like that shit looked like a fucking horror movie.
yeah. Nah, it's crazy because whenever I try to avoid riding the train, but when I have to, I'm the guy that's like against the wall so nobody can get behind
close
me.
to the door. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
And I stay vigilant. Like even when I'm about to approach, like getting on the, because people be thirsty trying to get on the train quick and shit.
yeah.
I'm not that guy. I'm like, yeah, I'll be there last, but I just got to make sure I know what's happening around me because just like like I've seen it. I personally haven't seen it, but I've heard it enough and I've seen it on the news enough where like, anybody could be a victim at any moment.
Any moment. And that's the sad part about all this is that you start to, especially as a parent, you become paranoid
Yes.
of these things. Like the dude in New Orleans, like that active duty
Military.
military and supposedly was repping ISIS,
Yeah.
which is scary as shit.
Yeah, they said he had an ISIS flag in his car.
And we still don't know what the fucking New Jersey drones is all about.
Nah. But at
Yeah.
least they're not killing nobody as far as we know.
Bruh. Say that to the people setting up. It's like saying they're setting up offensive positions for like for like a week and everybody's like, well, these are not killing anybody, but all the guns when they're ready to go, they're ready to go.
That's true. That's true. So
Yeah.
how were the holidays for you guys? E, you can
Um
start. Well, shit.
what
No, you
I did have
texted
an
us.
incident. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
did
yeah.
have well, we went to Disney. We
Yeah.
did that. Um and it was pretty good. You met up with Rick and his wife, recognized.
Oh, they were out there too?
It was the twins' birthday.
Oh, wow. Okay. All
So we
right.
celebrate their birthday, and we stayed at Fort Wilderness, which you get a cabin and a golf cart, and it feels like you're in the mountains, and it was dope. You could decorate the cabin outside, like you take your stuff to decorate. Everybody decorates, and that was really dope, man. We had a good time. The kids, everything went relatively smooth. But then on the way back, right before we were heading back, my wife had an incident with the kids where she was trying to get coffee where she got coffee and my daughter spilled brand new cup of coffee and it went on my son
Ooh.
and my wife like reacted and she's already been suffering from sciatic issues and she reacted quickly thinking that he was going to get burned or that he was burned and she like bent down quickly and it seemed like that aggravated her sciatic and luckily nothing happened to him, he didn't get burned, thankfully.
Okay.
um and then on the way driving back, we catch some traffic and all that, which extended the length of time to get back home. She starts getting these nasty sciatic pains. I mean, to the point where it's unbearable. She's screaming in the car. not holding back. She's not sitting in the seat. She can't sit in the seat. She has to like get down on the floor almost. And when we get back, and this is right before Christmas Eve, so the 23rd. And so we get back straight to urgent care for her. They try to give her all these pain meds, morphine, nothing's working.
Damn.
So they tell her, look, we're gonna have to send you to the hospital, so that to a what is it, a
Nerve specialist or something.
neurologist specialist, where they can either they can do the MRI scan. They did a CT scan. They gave her even stronger drugs for the pain, which I was telling her like, don't take any drugs because
Yeah.
I have like a huge fear of like addiction with all this stuff going on. But she had to. It was so bad, and she stayed overnight. And we thought for a second we were gonna have, she was gonna be in there for Christmas, which it did kind of mess up our Christmas Eve. We're Latino, so we kind of celebrate more Christmas Eve, especially in recent times with my mom. My wife didn't get discharged from the hospital till like the afternoon, like sometime around 3 or 4 p.m. But luckily, she got home, and we were able to do something, and then the next day with the kids, all good. And so far, my wife's on and off with the pain, but not as bad as it was. But we're a little nervous about that. But
How'd your kids react when your wife was in pain and screaming in the car on the ride
dude,
back?
it's interesting. I've been talking about that. I feel like these kids just have like this defense mechanism that just shuts off and doesn't allow them to like pay attention to certain things. And they like I wanted them to have more sympathy for my wife. Like they were like she's screaming and they're just like, snacks, where's my snack? Like my iPad's not working anymore. And she's like, oh god. It was labor pain screams. Like this is the type
Wow.
of screaming she was doing. She's not one to scream like that, especially knowing the kids are in the car. She said in the urgent care, she was in the waiting area screaming like a wild person.
Wow.
But yeah, the kids were acting like if nothing was, and then we would drop her off at urgent care. They're like, "Okay, mommy, look, all right, we'll see you later." Like they just,
Oh,
I'm
wow.
just like, "Yo, what is going on here?" Like, and then they would like bust out with, "I miss mommy," or "I hope mommy feels better," but they just weren't that concerned.
That's
It
wild.
was so strange, dude. The next morning they wake up and they're like, "Oh, she's not here yet." Okay, and breakfast. Where's breakfast, Dad? Like, I'm like, "Yo,
And you're stressing, right? Because now you're down
yeah."
one parent, but you're worried about her. Then
Of
you kind
course.
of in your mind, I'm sure you'd like any moment these kids could go crazy and really fucking take me for a spin here.
I mean, that was the least of my worries. It was more like just what's gonna happen with her. How do I, like, the unfortunate thing is I leave her in. It's like you don't want to leave any but your loved
Yeah.
one just there by themselves, especially like in the holidays. So I'm like leaving her in urgent care dolo, and then she ends up Ubering back home,
Hmm.
because I'm with the kids. So, and she even mentioned, oh, I was thinking maybe you guys would have passed by, and we would have passed by, but we didn't know like the status of like she wasn't like in a room just hanging, like they didn't give her a room. She was in a room, but I'm saying like she's in between like doing all these tests and all these things.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take the kids out and go to the hospital. And the last thing I want to do is take the kids to the hospital.
Right. Yeah.
So it was a little weird, but that was my concern just for her and her well being, and that she didn't feel alone in the holidays and like left behind. And but you know
And you
whatever.
suffer from sciatica too, right? You haven't had a
I
crazy
recently got my first episode this past year, 2024.
yeah.
Brought in the sciatica age, and that shit disabled me. I thought I was gonna like the way I think about things is extreme. So when I had that attack, I was like, I'm wheelchair bound. I'm never gonna play with my kids again.
And
That's it.
and has she had episodes before, or this was
She's had them for the past couple of years. Yeah.
not to shit on CrossFit, but I wonder if it's CrossFit related,
Yeah, my
but
mom, the first thing she was like, "Yeah, I think she'd be doing too much weight." But listen, like you can't. My wife's one of those people you can't tell her shit. So she's been modifying. She doesn't do the things that could aggravate it.
Because you can
Um,
hurt. I mean, as someone who's done it before, like you could really hurt yourself if you're not doing
Oh,
the shit properly, or it's
well, no, she's really into it. She does it properly.
yeah,
But my thing is that for a mother of two, already in your late, mid 30s, you're not gonna like you shouldn't push yourself sometimes, you know how CrossFit is. You become
mad
competitive, you
competitive.
want to
right,
especially like, she'll see other people doing certain weights. You want to, you don't want to
yeah,
make it seem like you're slacking and she's
right,
super into it. I'm a slacker. Like I'm like, "Nah, bro, I'm not getting hurt, dude."
yeah,
Like
Yo,
I
when you
told the
see
coach, huh?
when you see that wad board, you automatically you're like, not doing that, modifying
Yeah, I'm
that.
like 50%, 50%, 10%, 50%. Like I was telling our coach that we have because we're at a fairly newer gym to us. And I was telling the dude like, yeah, I've been doing CrossFit for 8 years. My wife she's, I've been doing way longer than her, like double the time. And he's like, yeah, because they're all, and they try to use her as a benchmark for me to do better. They're like, yo, you should, your wife did more weights than you, and I'm like, good for her. Great, that's awesome. Let her keep going, dude. But yeah, there's nothing you can really tell her when it comes to that, and she's really competitive with that stuff. But no, but she's been taking it easy and she's trying. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if if ending CrossFit and doing something else is the way to go. Uh, I don't know, but she's into CrossFit, man, and she's got her
Mhm.
little, her little crew now. Her friendships there, and it's hard to pull her out of that.
No, I get it.
The stretching part of all of that,
She
bro,
stretches like a motherfucker. I'm the one
is
that doesn't stretch shit.
yeah, that shit is
I just look
critical.
at stretching. I look at people. Oh man, they stretch. Thanks for doing it for both of us.
Yo, that's like the leading cause of looking crippled when you're like in your 50s, not
I
stretching.
I know, I know.
It's insane, bro.
I
You
need
better
to
get
do
on it.
hot yoga or something.
Anything, bro. Gotta do something.
Yeah. But yeah, sciatic shit is no joke, and obviously her shit is a little bit, I feel, is more than just, it's what's causing the sciatic problem, like pinched nerve or whatever.
Hmm.
They saw what's happening. It's just she's got to dive deeper into the problem. They even threw out, doing surgery to alleviate it, but I don't know. She's gonna have to definitely. We're gonna have to deal with that. And
But
then
she's
just
stable now, considering.
considering, yeah, yeah, yeah. But sometimes you'll see that look in her face. She's like, oh, I might come back.
Oh man.
She gets worried
Yeah.
because it's bad. So that was our holiday, and the kids got too many presents, as far as I'm concerned. We didn't clean out 50% of the shit in the house that I wanted to happen, and then I get mad at everybody,
So you turn into Scrooge as soon as the gifts get open.
bruh. And then the kids, yeah, I don't, you turn into the in my day, type of
Yeah. Oh
person.
man. Yeah.
Like I had one toy and I played with that shit till it broke. Like these kids will open a gift, they're super excited. They just move it 2 times and they're like, next,
Huh.
We
Yo,
never
my
had on-demand TV. We had to watch what was what was there.
we
Shit,
had appointment television.
we didn't have kids channels, man. I had to watch novelas, bro, with my grandma because that was the only thing on.
Yo, my son wanted so he had like a mini Rubik's Cube.
Mm-hmm.
And then so like I don't know, the regular one has like 9 squares on each side.
This has
His
four.
had like 6 or some shit.
Oh,
So he wanted like the regular one, the original version. So we got him that for Christmas. Yo, my man started playing with it. He scrambled it first and then he tried to put it together. And he's like, I don't know. He's probably spent 30 minutes. And he goes, nah, I gotta Google this to figure out how to do this.
Oh, shit.
I was like, you cheating ass motherfucker, bro. I was like, you can't do that. That's whack. You taking all the fun out of it. No, I'm just gonna do it the first time just so I can see how it works. I was like, nah, you whack, bro. And then he just put it down and never looked at it again.
yeah.
It gets me mad, bro.
I
All
mean,
this
just be
waste.
happy that at least he played with a Rubik's cube. Like,
He likes all that brain teasing and like all
Mm,
that kind of stuff. The mental stimulation stuff he's into. But he gives up so quick and uses technology to solve the problem. And I'm like,
right.
challenge your brain a little bit.
How about books? Do books go over well in your house for for gifts? Uh,
My kids will read. My youngest actually is probably the most avid reader. She's always like, "Yo, take me to the library," and we fall short because time or whatever. Like we always
Yeah.
find an excuse not to take her. But she's the most willing. My son, if it has to be like the right
Yeah.
franchise of books, to get into it. But yeah, not a big fan. We so just to give y'all a quick update on me. Like the holidays was fire until right. We did Noche Buena, which is Christmas Eve with our friends. We did the whole Latin style, the pernil, the whole thing, right? And my boy, who we went to his crib for it, he had his son had a fever leading up to this event. My friend got sick, but they were kind of on the mend by Christmas Eve. And he was like, "Yo, look, here's what's going on over here. Like, you know, come or not, it's up to you. But here's what's
And
going
you
on."
and you went, huh?
Oh, we went,
You went and you
Pay
got that
pay for
present.
it afterward.
and we got clapped.
Oh man.
My
How did they
actually,
feel? Did they feel bad?
I, I'm sure they do, but I was
But hey,
like, "Yo,
they gave you the warning.
yeah, like what else are you gonna do? Like it's not like you snuck up on us. We knew what we was
Right.
dealing with." So my wife, my youngest daughter, and I all got some semblance of it. Mine hit me. It was like a bad cold. Like I didn't have fever or anything like that, or body aches or nothing. It was just a bad cold. My wife had a little bit of fever one day, and then it was a bad cold. My youngest had a fever, coughing. She threw up a bunch of times for 6 days
Oof.
after that. So, and like a fever, if it's more than 3 days, like you got to be really concerned. It
Yeah.
never went past 102, which was for us like, a good signal. But her energy was on the floor, like it was bad. And we're over here like, yo, what are we gonna do? We don't have health insurance. Like we got this like what if the world blows up type of coverage, but we don't have like
Mhm.
regular day to day. So we gotta be real like methodical. And so my wife, my wife is a lot of our friends consider my wife a doctor because she works in the medical field, but she's not a doctor. But she knows enough how to deal with some of this stuff. So I'm looking at her like I'm freaking. I'm like, yo, what do we do? Do we just take it to the emergency room? Fuck it. We have to sell the house. We sell the house. Like, what are we gonna do? And and she's like, no, chill, chill. So she's like doing all this stuff and keeping everything, in range. And then finally the fever breaks yesterday. And my daughter like walks out of her room like nothing happened. Her energy's still low, but it goes from she was just like knocked out on her bed on the sofa. Like you gotta wake her up every 5 minutes because you don't know if she's alive. Like
That's
she was
scary, man.
out,
Mm.
and she just pops up out of bed and walks out. Like it was frightening because I'm walking out of my room and she just like whoop, like comes out right in front of me. I'm like, yo, you all right? I'm already thinking like something's wrong, and she's better and whatnot. But yeah, it was a crazy last almost week.
I got nothing to top either of those stories.
Good.
He just don't want you to
Yeah.
tell us shit. He's like,
That was
uh,
uneventful.
it came, it went.
Although we did get caught in on Christmas Eve in the American Airlines
Oof.
nationwide shutdown. We were
Oh, that's fun.
I mean, wasn't
trying
it
to,
only like 30 minutes to shut down?
well, it was a couple hours, but then you get the delay stacked up. So we were trying to get home, and we thought we were being slick by taking real early morning flights to get home.
Ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we get there, and then the delays start happening. They're like, "Yeah, it's a nationwide shutdown." I'm like, ah, my son's like, "What? What's?"
So
I'm like,
how long did it take?
I'd say we probably when we finally got home, we were probably 3 hours delayed than when we should have been, which wasn't too bad.
Right,
Could
especially
have been could have been
considering it's
worse.
called
Yeah,
a nationwide
yeah,
shutdown.
yeah. Could have been worse for sure.
This was Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Wow.
How's your son with the holidays? Does he get excited? Like,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He's into it. Although he was he's definitely way more methodical with like the thoughts of presents or I don't want, like I don't want a lot of stuff, but he's able to he's able to wish for stuff that's more meaningful or the stuff that he would like as opposed to, just having a bunch of stuff because now he's got a closet full of things that,
Right.
from when he was younger. So, so
Is
that's
it
good.
mostly clothes for him now, or is he into like little doodads?
Electronics.
Sneakers, tech stuff, basketball stuff, and yeah, that kind of stuff.
Nope.
Yeah.
More useful things.
Yeah, stuff that he's actually, but you still got to throw in. It's like you can't get him in the mindset of like, okay, here's my list. Make sure I get everything on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Throw in the
You
random.
gotta mix it up.
How was everybody's New Year's?
Mad chill, bro.
Chill, super chill.
I didn't go nowhere. We just stayed home. I made. I've been like pregnant about this shit. Like super craving mofongo, and I made my own here at the crib. That was my dinner for that night, and I was
Yeah,
like, "This is how I want to bring in the new year," and that shit was popping. So I was on my couch like this, like laid out in a food coma after that, but it was good, man. It had my music playing, like it was. I'm not normally when like New Year's Eve. It's kind of uncomfortable for me. Like I'm
Hmm.
usually not into like the rah rah of like
Right.
ball dropping and all of
right,
that. And this year, while I was cooking, I had like I don't even know why. I'm not normally I'll put like some 90s R&B as my mood setting music. I threw on some merengue with some like bachata and some salsa, and I just let a playlist go while I was cooking. Bro, that shit got me into the mood like I've never been in as far as I can remember. And then once the ball dropped and all that, like it was a really cool, like, oh wow. I was looking forward to it.
Right.
Whereas most times not so much.
well, before we started recording, man and I were talking about just because this past couple weeks have just been like shut off, shut down, try to be home and chill because it just feels like during the year normally the idea of just having some uninterrupted time at home to just kick back. It feels like there's always something to do. So to be able
Right.
to shut everyone off for a little while is nice.
Yeah, I've forced that for myself for the past 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and it's gone well, and I'm happy that I've done it. And I've been thinking a lot about just like and we talk about it a lot about like spending those that special time with the kids and just spending time, not special time, just spending time
Right.
with the kids and being around. Doesn't mean you're always with them, but being around, present in the home. Um, like I'm focusing more and more on making that a reality for me as much as possible, and it's just a focus of everything I'm trying to do now. And I was actually watching something. Hope I don't veer off too much right now, but I was watching something today that kind of like spoke to me in a way that I didn't expect it to speak to me. Some random podcast. I'm watching all these crazy podcasts about aliens or war or something going on. And this one podcast I watch has a lot of like veterans, the special forces guys that were involved like in Benghazi or these different things that happened. And this one dude was talking about how he's special forces. He was in Afghanistan. He was in Libya, and how much he really like he loves being in the military. He loves his deployments. He loves what he did, and he was just talking about it, like romanticizing it. And he has like 3 kids, but he was saying the one thing that he missed, and the interviewer brought it up, like, well, you have, I know that at one of your deployments, a baby was born, and then you were deployed, and you didn't come back till like 7 months later to see the
Mm.
kid, and then you were deployed again, and then like on and off. And the dude was like saying that back when at that time frame, he was just like, this patriot, loved what he did, and he's just like, yo, this is the job that I signed up for. This is what I do, and I love my family, but it is what it is, and I'm gonna go do what I gotta do, and enjoy doing it while I'm doing it. but he said that now in retrospect, he's realized his first that one child that he was talking about, because he had kids afterwards where he's been home now. He's retired, and he's been able to be there, present, and he's now knowing what he missed,
Mm.
and the relationship is not wasn't the same with that other kid, the first kid, and he's like, damn, is it really worth it? Like those years, those specific years,
Yeah.
and that's all I think about nowadays. So like going full circles at these 2 weeks and this holiday season. um it's just I'm like saying this is so important to be around with these kids, and I'm just looking at them, and every moment I get to hug them and be caring with them and playful with them, I'm just saying to myself, this is not gonna last. This is fleeting, like we need to really, try to do this as much as possible, because these moments, in the blink of an eye, they're older and that's it.
Yeah, especially when they still want to hang out with you and everything. It's like,
Yeah, man. And my son, he's just, and I wish my daughter was like this, but my son he's just attached to me and he wants to help. He's like, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go do this chore in the house. He's like, let me help. Like it
mm-hmm.
was like yesterday was so dope. He was like into this cartoon and he was watching and he didn't want to get pulled away from it. And I'm like, no, no, you got it. No, no, he was actually on his iPad watching something, YouTube Kids. And once he gets on there, and we don't give it to them that often. The weekends is when the only time they get it. But he's hooked. And I
Locked
just
in.
tell him, yeah, I tell him, well, I'm gonna, because I had been mentioning it that I'm gonna bring down the decorations outside, take them down, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna go take down the decorations. I mean, you could just stay there if you want. He just throws the iPad. Goes, no, no, I want to help. I want to help. And
Nice.
he comes out, which is super dope. And yeah, man, taking advantage. And so again, the message to all fathers out there, and I know everybody has different lifestyles and different jobs, and it's tough. But going back to what I heard this military dude talk about, how he loved his job, he felt it was important, and it was his duty to go out there and do what he had to do. But in retrospect, he realized what he lost. Um, I guess you could say to yourself, well, maybe you can put certain things on pause for your own life, knowing that what you're going to be losing if you don't do that.
And
And
that's a hard thing to consider, right? Because like you said the word pause, because you could effectively like pause certain things for now, pick them up later.
yeah,
But for many of us, we don't think about it like that. We think about if we don't get on it now, we'll
It's
never
gone. All right. Yeah.
we'll never have that opportunity again. And I'm sure there's a lot of cases where that's not true, right? You'll still have the opportunity.
right.
But in the same vein, like I was reading an article about this, a boxer, Gervonta Davis is his name.
Hmm.
He goes by Tank, and he announced that he's retiring in 2025. And one of the reasons is so what he said was, I want to retire so that I can go to therapy, and so that through therapy I can become much softer and me be more humble for my two girls, because he feels like he's he's been trained to be basically a killer in the ring,
Right.
and that from what I gather from the article, has its cons when it comes to raising his kids. So I'm sure he had some episode where he felt like he was a little too aggressive or something like that, and that's weighing on him, among other things. But like, I thought that was really interesting. He's 30 years old. So he's a relatively young dude. I don't know how old his girls are, but like somebody like him to hang him up in a pretty lucrative career for him, like that's
It takes
bold.
a level of maturity to understand this stuff. And look, this is similar to the vet that I was watching on the podcast. He said even when he was home in those times, he's just getting back from deployment. He's still in war mode, in warrior mode. It takes a very long time to decompress. And he said even to this day, you're never off of warrior mode when you're special forces type trained,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
but it took him a very long time. And so the family never really had him in those times where he was back and forth, even when he was back. So yeah, it takes a lot to undo certain things. I would imagine for like a boxer, someone like those type of people, even a firefighter or a police officer. There's a lot to undo there. It's just it's tough because you know that there's families and there's parents, there's fathers out there that they just have to put in these man hours of work. And one thing that I've really thought about, and this is, look, man, you might say, oh, you maybe you're making some good money in Drink Champs, and you could talk like this now. But I've been thinking about this way before Drink Champs, way before I had any money in my pocket. Um, when I was on the grind, I always looked at the people who were like, or the whole idea of society saying, you gotta be on the grind. If you're not on the grind, if you're not in the hustle, yo, hustlers, man, yo, doers and don'ts and da. Get the
What do you
fuck
call
out of here,
that?
bro. Like,
Treadmill
well,
hustling.
there's specific people that I call treadmill hustlers that they just think because they move around a lot, they're getting shit done. And I dispelled that on my own by myself in certain times where it was necessary for me to like really like hone in spending, where I was just stay home. I stay in my underwear. I was never really in my underwear, but I would just
Right.
say that to make a point. I'm stay home in my PJs or my underwear, and I'm on the computer getting shit done and doing more work than the person who's out there, quote unquote, outside, because they're just out there moving and shaking and seeing and shaking, hanging out with people. Like, but you ain't doing shit because you're
Right.
not you're not mentally, playing chess. You're not doing the things. You're not making those relationships and those handshakings turn into anything fruitful. You're just it's all, and especially now with social media, it's all a photo op. Like, look at me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then you let the perception of you working because you're moving around and taking pictures with people or taking pictures in places or next to a car. The best one is when I seen a dude that I know. We're in a garage, like in a building, and he sees a dope ass car, and he tells the other homie next to him, "Yo, take a picture with me with this." And I'm like, "What? What's he doing? Taking a picture with this random ass car that's not his?" He takes a picture and then he posts it. Don't put nothing in the caption. And then everybody in the case, yo, you get this, son. Yo, the grinder, yo, the hustle, yo, is paying off. And he's just not responding to anybody. Like, no, it was a random ass car in a garage. So, again, don't let social media fool you. Don't let these fucking assholes who swear that they're fucking hustling gurus fool you. Do what's right for you and your family. Put in that family time. Make that be the prize. Make that be luxury. That time spent with the family. That's true wealth and luxury right there. To be able to do that. If you can work to a point where you can free yourself up, you're rich. You became rich. Doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank.
Yeah.
You know what
Eh?
I mean?
It's fun. It's funny you say that because I've been thinking about that, like just tracking my steps back, right? Like my damn, sorry. My oldest, she's going to college next year, and by the way, I think she's 4 for 4 with acceptances.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Nice.
far, she's
Congrats,
heard
man.
back from 4. Thank you.
Did she get the
Um,
one the top one yet? Did you hear back from that one yet?
she just finished the submission of that
Oh, okay.
application
Okay.
because it was a little lengthier. So we'll see in the next month or two. But and for all of them, she got a merit scholarship from the schools. So
Nice.
like tens of thousands of dollars that she
All
got
of
from
them offered that?
all 4 so far.
Wow.
Wow.
Some version of their own.
Yeah.
And so this is
Dope.
before like the financial aid package and all that stuff.
And this is grade based.
Only academics, yeah.
Wow. Nice, man.
But it's still a grip. Like
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 Yeah.
even if it's like 40% of the tuition, which is, I mean, we're grateful, right? But like, yo, that 60% is heavy. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Not to veer off, but are you gonna have her do some of this on student loan herself, or are you gonna try to not go
yeah,
that route?
yeah. We're gonna go student loan if needed,
Right.
and then we're gonna chip in wherever we
Right.
can in the
Gotcha.
process.
Yeah.
Ideally, like, I'm not gonna share this with her, but like my wife and I are like, yo, we want her to feel the responsibility of college, but we don't want it to hinder her success after college.
Right.
So what we're working on trying to provide is like, all right, we're gonna either through some investment vehicle or maybe it's just straight cash, like yo, either pay it all off for her or offset it considerably so that she's not in it by herself, like when she
Right.
has to do the payback. But I was thinking about this past week, and I'm like, yo, it's really not about me anymore. Like, and not just like, oh, me, my time and hanging out. Not, I've been way past that. But now I'm thinking about it from a career standpoint. It's like I still need to go get mine and do my thing, but I've noticed I'm shifting my focus in helping her set the structure for what she wants to pursue as an academic career, but what that means in the next step, in the next level after college. So I'm already laying the groundwork for like networking opportunities in that field. Who do I know? Who do they know? And like starting to put the pieces together so that we can start having conversations with these people and giving her a clearer perspective of what that career can turn into and what the different paths are within that career, but also like start meeting some of these people, start maybe lining up internships sooner than like most people do it like their junior year of college.
Right.
I'm talking about like next summer. Like how do we get you in the door before you even start college?
Right.
And I'm looking at and I'm thinking I'm like I just sat down the other day and I was like, yo, how ill would it be that my daughter becomes like this? She's thinking about doing biomedical engineering because she wants to be able to create like prosthetics to help people have a better quality of life and things like that. So how dope would it be if I can get her on that path immediately following her graduation? Versus me, it took me 5 years to find my lane after college.
Stripper.
And I'm like, yo, that felt really right. So like the emphasis now is like, all right, we got you here. Now I gotta help you get over there. More than just like, here's some money for college. So it feels good.
No, that's dope, man. And the fact that you're like shifting your focus now, not shifting it, but you see like a purpose there for yourself that wasn't there before necessarily
Right.
because now it's and I'm sure it's going to carry over to the next kid and the next kid.
Yeah. I mean, like with everything, like my oldest, she's my training wheels. So like I'm probably gonna do things, as good as I can, but through that experience, I'm gonna do it even better for the next and then subsequently. Because every step, you're broadening your understanding and how to move faster.
Right. And I want to caveat what I said before about the whole hustler thing and put time in. There's definitely personality types of people, men specifically, and we know some of these people that it doesn't apply to them because I'm not gonna say they don't give a fuck. It's just the way they give a fuck is different.
Yeah.
They have no issue working 24/7, providing for the family and not even blinking an eye of spending or thinking about that time they're losing. Let me say that. They feel that the grind is more important to the bigger story. And that's, to each their own. But if you're the person that it does that you do want to spend that physical time, then that's
You
who
gotta
I'm
make, yeah,
really
you gotta make
talking
it a
to.
priority. Yeah.
Yeah. The grind, man, gotta hustle, man. Gotta hustle. Just like
I
Ukraine, man. They getting them 2 billies. They getting them billies every week.
Oh man.
We each gotta be Ukraine in the world. Can I be Ukraine?
I got a parting question for you guys before we wrap this up. And maybe you've thought of it, maybe you have maybe I'm putting you on the spot. What is your fatherhood resolution for 2025?
Oof. I think you're gonna
Hmm.
go to
Fatherhood resolution. Damn. Um, I think I can freestyle this. I think for me, I want to have I want to have a better, what's the word I'm looking for? My reactions to things, I want to pay a little bit more attention to, especially as it pertains to like just understanding more like how my son, as he's growing, you know, what sets him off, what like if he's having an issue with something, then what's my reaction to that? And is my reaction actually helping the situation and helping it in the long run, or is it actually making things worse? And some of these, you know, and this is we learning as we go along, right? I mean, we're all this is what we're all doing. But in the I've noticed that sometimes my reactions, even though the intention is supposed to mean well, and it doesn't always, the end result didn't serve its purpose. So I need to be a little bit more mindful and remind myself, like, I tried this route before and it didn't didn't go the way I wanted it to. It didn't help, even though I thought it might help. So I need to be a little more mindful of that and be a little bit more flexible and creative in the approach.
I feel that. Yo, I know exactly what you mean because I struggle with that same exact thing. Um, so real quick for me, it's more intentionally loving my kids the way they need to be loved. And what
Uh,
that means to me is so in a similar example, like my son, the way I can express my love to him is playing with him more,
Right.
listening to him and not stopping him from talking, which I find he talks a lot sometimes. And my lack of patience or whatever, I kind of pump the brakes on him sometimes. So just letting him air out whatever he's trying to air out in his own way without interfering. And just like spending the time with him that he wants me, that, like he's pushing me to spend with him versus like trying to find other ways to, spend time.
Right.
And then with my girls, like the love is different. Like my oldest doesn't really, she's not into all the like affection stuff.
it's
But
crazy
for
because
her,
the
it's
girls are
like
like that.
my youngest, she loves affection, just not from me, from my wife all day. But if I come crowd at her, she's like, nah. So I just kind of similar to you. I gotta get better at just fine tuning that approach and just being like really intentional about how I do that, and then being able to switch it up depending on the kid. Because for me, that's the hardest part because it's very custom for each one of them.
Yeah, makes sense.
Um, Let me think, man. Well, one thing I have thought about is before the year, the new year is really being the best version of myself for my kids and just like and in the biggest thing is discipline. Like I just want to find more discipline and have more discipline so that I could be the better version of myself and not always have these exterior things throw me off. Like a messy house throws me off. Messy room or an inconsistent schedule, which is a part of my life, throws me off. Like I'm very structured in the way that I can be disciplined. Like I can become very disciplined with a certain setting that I set for myself that I control. But as a parent and in life, you can't control a lot. And so that throws me off and it throws my discipline off and it throws off my goal of being the better version of myself for my kids. So I guess that would be my goal for this year is to try to like figure out and acquire that discipline because I need to be more disciplined to figure out how to become disciplined
Mm.
in this crazy structure of my life as is right now. So that's what it is, man.
That's work.
It's work. I gotta hustle. I gotta grind. I gotta
Gotta
be.
grind, son.
Grind it
Gotta
out,
be
man.
outside.
Yeah, man.
Grind it out.
All right,
Yeah.
y'all.
Right?
Take a picture.
Huh.
Yo, post it.
Some
Sweet.
say.
All right, y'all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here's to
Peace.
All
a,
right.
a dominant 2025. We'll catch y'all next week. Peace.
You know what I mean?